You're about to head out on your very first Tesla road trip. You're excited beyond belief, but you're nervous too. What about the nav? I don't know how to go from point A to point B. And what about range anxiety? What if we get stranded? Well, I'm going to help you with all of those things and hopefully put your mind at ease and get you on the road for your very first Tesla road trip. Hint, it's actually pretty fun. All right, today we're going to talk about if you are a beginner and this is your first time supercharging for a road trip. Then we're going to go kind of midway, the intermediate tricks and tips and all that sort of stuff. And then later on in the video, we'll do pro level stuff like what I do. I'm a 10-year electric vehicle owner and 5-year Tesla owner. And so I've got a few things I want to share to help you along your way. Road tripping these cars, it's actually kind of fun and it's actually way easier than you think. Let's get to the basic level on getting you from point A to point B for your first road trip. For this particular example, we're going to go to San Francisco. How about that? We're going to go to the Golden Gate Bridge, just for fun. So that'll be Los Angeles to San Francisco. It's a 320-mile trip, and you can see we're down here, and it's going to give you the superchargers that it is recommending at this point. Because we're still supercharging, it's estimating that we only need to stay here another 5 minutes in order to make it to Bakersfield, and then 55 minutes from Bakersfield, you have to sit there and then go to Gustine, and then you're on your way to Golden Gate Bridge. Now, of course, that is this particular car. This is a 2019 Tesla Model 3. It's only got about a 210, 220 mile range when you charge it full. Newer cars, you're going to maybe have one stop, two if you really want to optimize, but optimizing is going to be later on in the video. So we're going to go through all that kind of stuff. At its most basic level, you are done. Your trip is planned for you. It's ready to go. As long as you listen to the nav, you should absolutely, no problem, without hesitation, make it from Los Angeles and then be driving on the Golden Gate Bridge about 6 hours later. Is it about 6 hours? Yeah, roughly. So there you go. That's it. It's pretty easy. Now, if you get yourself in trouble, let's say there's wind or rain or big storm or traffic or something along the way that causes you to not have enough. Reduce your speed. Reducing your speed is the best tip I can give you for new Tesla owners going on their first road trip. Yes, people are going to say, oh, AC or radio or lights or whatever it may be. Speed is the biggest killer of battery. So knock it back. If you were going 75, 80 on your trip and now all of a sudden it says you're not going to make it, reduce your speed to 60. If it still doesn't think you're going to make it, reduce it back to 50, 55 and get it over into the right lane. Speed will definitely help you get to your next location. So check out the screen. It actually tells you along the way in your charging process, you have enough energy to continue on your trip. Just listen to the nav. It's that simple. So as you can see, it actually changed the supercharger locations because I'm overcharging. I'm charging more than it said originally. So it's kind of recalculating which way you're going to go. That's kind of cool. Now on to some intermediate tips. If you are a little more seasoned with your Tesla, you've maybe taken a couple of road trips already, you know your car better, you know what it's capable of. Let's go into some of these intermediate tips because these are going to help you optimize your trip and not have you sit around for an hour. So what I like to do is when I'm first going on a road trip, I'm calculating it on the nav. I kind of take a look at what Tesla is recommending, and then I kind of do my own thing because I know this particular route, for one, and two, I know the car pretty well. So in this case, it's having us go to Buttonwillow. Then it's going to say it wants us to stay there for 55 minutes. That's not cool. That's not the best way to optimize a road trip. In my experience, the best thing to do is go to more superchargers along the way and charge faster. So if you're not familiar how electric vehicles work, the bottom part of the battery, say 5% to say 65%, is going to charge way faster than 65 or 70 to 100%, which is like a snail's pace. So you kind of want to live in the lower part of the battery where it charges faster, and maybe go to 1 or 2 extra supercharger stops and make things faster. So in this case, I'm going to go to Buttonwillow, if that's what it says I'm going to make it to. I know this trip. I've done this trip, I don't want to say a million times because that's over exaggerating, but I know this car can make it to Kettleman City, but that's going to be more in the advanced situation. So we're going to go to Buttonwillow, but after we get to Buttonwillow, we're going to re-navigate. So we're going to end the trip once we get to Buttonwillow and re-navigate and see what it tells us then after, say, a 20-minute stop. I don't like to stay long. 20 minutes is about my max on a road trip. And honestly, that's plenty, especially with the newer cars. They're charging at 250 kilowatts. It's really all you need to stop at a supercharger. Even with family, you know, you go to the bathroom, you stretch your legs, you get some snacks, in 20 minutes, boom, you're done, you're out. You're on to the next one. That's a great intermediate tip from me, I think. Now on to the pro level tips, and this is, if you're more experienced, you've got a bunch of road trips under your belt, you kind of want to take it to that next level and fully optimize your road trips and not have to wait around for 55 minutes like the nav is having you do. So what I like to do, especially on a trip that I know Los Angeles to San Francisco very well. I know Los Angeles to San Diego and Vegas and all my region. So what I like to do is go to the supercharger that I already know this car can make, which in this case is Kettleman City. All right, so we are now navigating to Kettleman City because I know this car can make it. And would you look at that? It's saying we have another 25 minutes to make it, or another 25 minutes to supercharge. And right now we're at 5% arrival. So what I like to do is watch this number. I like to see it around 6 to 10% arrival, and then I'll unhook and go. I'm not going to wait around the 25 minutes. But that's because I trust the car, I trust the nav. If I get into trouble, I'll slow down. And on top of that, I know that between Los Angeles and Kettleman, there's 10 or 15 other superchargers. Those are called bailout options. So if you get yourself in trouble, if you navigate to a supercharger that you think you can get to, but ultimately weather or, like I said, traffic or other circumstances cause you to not make it to the charger that you want, you've got these bailout options. And it's pretty much like that across the US. All right, so I'm watching this number. We're still at -2 to make it to Kettleman City from Santa Clarita, California, on this particular route right there along the 5. If I were going to be doing this trip, I would definitely wait to see it between the 6 and 10% arrival. This is the arrival number right here. This is the amount of time that Tesla wants you to stay. I typically, as a pro level user, am not listening to what Tesla wants me to stay because they overdo it. They are way more conservative. They definitely don't want you to be stranded somewhere, and they are thinking that you don't know any of these tips and tricks. All right, as we watch this number climb, we're seeing it now arriving at Kettleman City with 2% state of charge. That, of course, is its estimate. It still wants us to stay at this supercharger for another 20 minutes for some reason. But again, as a pro level user, I'm not saying beginners, don't be listening to this pro level stuff because you're not ready for it. I would be ready to unhook around 6 or 7%. That gives me a little bit of a buffer in case there is weather, rain, wind, extra heat, whatever. So that's the way I have been doing road trips. Again, 5 years plus of Tesla road trips. And that's my comfort level. Your comfort level may be 10 or 15%, and that's perfectly fine. But the idea is to optimize your comfort level with faster charging stops, maybe adding 1 or 2 supercharger stops to your route instead of waiting around 55 minutes to an hour, which seems kind of silly, when you could charge fast, go to the next one, charge fast, go to the next one. Again, I like to stay at superchargers about 20 minutes and then I'm gone. That's it. All right, we are at the 6% state of charge. I would be unhooking my supercharger session at this point and taking off to Kettleman City. Of course, it wants us here another 20 minutes. The reason for that, if you might be asking, is because we are now at the top end of the battery, 166 miles for this car, or 82%. Again, like I said earlier in the video, the higher or top end of the battery is going to charge way, way slower than the bottom part of the battery. So that's why another, well, now 15 minutes is expected to charge to get that top end of the battery charged. So I would be unhooking now. I've got a buffer now of 7%, and I would be on my way to Kettleman City at this point. All right, so there's just a few tips for your first time Tesla road tripping, or your intermediate road tripping, or your expert level road tripping. I hope I packed a bunch of tips into this one video, but again, if you are a beginner, if you are just doing your very first Tesla road trip, don't be scared of it. It's a lot of fun. It's actually way more relaxing than you think. It's I love it. I mean, I actually prefer road tripping electric cars because of these built-in stops. It makes it a little more pleasant to get out and stretch and walk around, and it doesn't seem so monotonous of just driving and driving and driving. So there you go. Use these tips, whether beginner, intermediate, or expert. I hope you found some value in this video, and don't forget to hit that like button. That truly means a lot to the channel, and puts a smile on my face. Oh, also hit the bell if you want to know of anything new on the channel. It'll come out instantly right to your device. And of course, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and be a part of Tesla Tips and Trips, just like the over almost 11,000 people. So thank you once again for watching another video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. All right, my supercharging session is complete, so let's go on hook. There we go. Nicely done.